You know, I've been reading a lot of standalones recently and I really miss series. Hey everyone, it's Jananie and welcome back to my channel. This story ain't over. So today I am coming to you with a video of all of these series I need to finish reading. So there are a bunch of series that I love and adore, but there are a bunch that I have also not finished yet. There are some that like I started the first book and I really liked and then I never got around to finishing it, or I got through like most of the series and I'm on the last book and I just haven't finished it. So I'm here to tell you all of those series that I have not finished. And so you can yell at me and tell me which ones to finish first. And this is also working as like a TBR, I guess, of series and books that I need to read and will soon finish. Hopefully. So I got the idea for this video from this first book slash series, which is the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown. So this is the first book in the series, and I have only read the first 3 books in this series. So Red Rising, Golden Sun, and Morning Star. But there are in fact 2 more books in this series after the author decided to extend the series, and they are Iron Gold and Dark Age. So you might have seen me talk about these in other videos. I am planning to read these or are in the middle of reading these depending on when you are seeing this video, but I really want to finish the series because I loved the first 3 books. It's basically like this really epic sci-fi series with a color-based society, a merit-based society. Each color is like a class of humans who has a specific role in society, and so the highest are the golds who kind of rule society, and then the lowest are the reds who are the miners and the bottom of the rung. And the series follows our main character Darrow, who is a red and is part of this rebellion and ends up infiltrating as one of the golds to become one of them to break them down from the inside. And it gets really interesting, and the later books follow some other characters as well, and I am just very excited to finish this, but I just haven't gotten around to it, and mostly because these books are just so thick and heavy, and I hate carrying around really big books, so that is my issue. The next series that I need to finish is the Dark Artifices series, and mainly the 3rd book in that series, Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. So this is the 3rd book in that series. The first one is Lady Midnight, the second one is Lord of Shadows, and this is the 3rd one, and it took me forever to read the first 2 to begin with. Like, I got them right as they released, and I only ended up reading them like months and months later. I think I read Lady Midnight like 7 months later, and then Lord of Shadows like a whole year later, and then this one, I got it, didn't read it, so still need to read it. I think I started it though, and I'm like maybe 100 pages in, but this thing is like freaking 900 pages or something, and like who has the time? I mean, I probably read like 3 times that amount or maybe more in the time that has elapsed since this came out, but like still, come on, it's just so big. Like, I don't want to carry this around. Like, this is just so inconvenient, you know? I will get around to it eventually. The next series that I need to finish is one that I actually started pretty recently, and that is the Diviner series by Libba Bray. So this is the first one, the Diviners. I do not own the rest of them, which is probably why I have not read the rest of the series yet, but I read this recently and absolutely loved it. It did take me a while to finish this first book. I feel like that's why I'm kind of wary going into the rest of the books, because I feel like they're gonna take forever to finish, but I really want to know what happens later on in the series and with these characters. I really liked all the characters in the series. It's set in the 1920s in New York, and it follows some murder mysteries and a lot of interesting characters, so I really want to finish it, and I probably will get to it eventually, but yeah, I'm probably gonna borrow the rest of the books from the library. The next series that I need to read is the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, a series by Ransom Riggs. So I read the first one, I think last year, and I did enjoy it. Like, I didn't love it, but like I did enjoy it, and I do own the other 2 books in the series. Well, actually there's another one after that because the series is continuing, but you know, it was originally a trilogy and I bought it as a box set on sale. I was very happy about that. But the 2nd book is Hollow City, and the 3rd book is Library of Souls. I think I started Hollow City, I just haven't gotten around to finishing it. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I would like to finish this, but it's not like high on my priority list. So that's where I'm at with this one. If you don't know, there's a movie for this one. Basically, it follows like this kid who follows these pictures and letters that his grandfather owned after his death to this mysterious island and to this orphanage, and he ends up getting like taken back into like this time loop basically, where there's this orphanage of children with these magical powers, and he ends up meeting all of them, and he's trying to discover the mystery behind them, and it's all very interesting. And there's also this mystery involved with his grandfather, and there are also like these old pictures in throughout the text. It's very interesting. I did enjoy it. I just didn't love it enough to like continue right away, but I will finish it eventually, hopefully. The next series that I have not finished is a very obscure one, and I feel like no one ever talks about this, but it is the Rebel Mechanics series. So I read this first book like a few years ago, like oh my god, it's like been more like almost 4 years ago that I read this, I think. It's by Shauna Swenson, and I do own the second book, Rebel Magisters. I read this and I did really enjoy it. I don't remember a lot anymore, but I remember enjoying it. It basically takes place during the American Revolution, and it's like a what if kind of twist on history, in the sense that what if the British like had these people called magisters who possessed like magic, so they were keeping, you know, themselves in power and preventing an American Revolution, and then there's like these rebels who are coming together, and this girl gets caught up in them, and she is a governess to a magister herself, so she is like on the inside. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I really liked the romance in it. I remember that pretty vividly, so I do want to finish it eventually, especially because I do own the second book. So I also really just like these covers, they're really cute. So yeah, really want to finish this. The next series that I want to finish is by Renee Ahdieh, and that is the Wrath in the Dawn series. So this is the first book, The Wrath in the Dawn, which I read when it came out, I think, like around the time it came out, and I absolutely loved it. It's very lush, very beautifully written. She describes things so elegantly. I just like had parts of the story that I like didn't totally love. I think there was like another character whose perspective that we get, and I thought he was kind of annoying, but the main story with like the love story and everything was amazing. It's basically like a retelling of 1001 Nights or Arabian Nights. Basically, this king takes a new wife every night and then kills her in the morning. So the main character in this book becomes one of the wives. And in the original epic, one of the girls who gets taken ends up telling the king this like magical tale and keeps going on and on about this wonderful story, and he is so enraptured in it. And right before the sun is supposed to rise, she starts a new story, and so he's forced to keep her alive for another day in order to hear the rest of the story. And so the main character in this book basically does the same kind of thing, and the two of them end up kind of falling in love, and there's like some twists and turns and things, and I really enjoyed it. And so there is a second book, The Rose and the Dagger, and I do own it, and I bought it right as soon as it released, and then I just never got around to reading it, and I do want to read it since I own the book. So yes, I really do want to finish it, and I think I'm gonna like it. I just need to get around to it, you know? On a similar note, the next series that I need to finish is also a 1000 Nights Arabian Nights retelling, and that is 1000 Nights and its sequel Spindle. I believe this also got like a cover revamp and a new title as well, but I don't remember what it is. So if I can find it, I will put it up here, like a picture of the cover. But yes, this is the second book that I did not know existed until much later, but I absolutely love this book. It is a retelling. It's much different from The Wrath in the Dawn in the sense that it's a much more quiet tale. It's much more kind of a feminist take. The main character is unnamed throughout. She is like a first-person narrator, and you just really get behind her storytelling, and there's less of a love story in this one and more of a like focus on the main character and her struggle, I guess. But I absolutely love this, and it's one of my favorite books ever. And so when I found out that there was a sequel, I was like, oh my god, this could go either horribly right or horribly wrong. So yes, I feel like I'm gonna have high expectations for it because I really love this, but I also feel like it could not be the best thing. Like it might not be the greatest follow-up, so I don't know. I also believe that this one is more of a retelling of the Sleeping Beauty. Yes, Sleeping Beauty, like the fairy tale, where like she pricks her finger on the spindle and she sleeps forever, and then she gets awakened by the princess kiss or whatever. And there's the Disney version, and then there's like the really grim version, so take that as you will. But yes, I'm very interested to see how this one will go, and I just really hope it lives up to my expectations. If you've read it, let me know what you thought of it in comparison to the first one, and if it kind of lived up. The next series that I need to finish is one that I'm quite surprised that I have not finished, because I went into it having high expectations and had a lot of people tell me that it was the most amazing series, and I feel like my feelings are a little bit different on it. But that is the Darker Shade of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. She's also the author of some YA series, namely the This Savage Song series under the name Victoria Schwab. So I absolutely love that series, and her other YA series, The Archived. So this is one of her adult series, and I do really like it. I just don't think I love it as much as a lot of other people do. I feel like my feelings on it are a little bit more on the lukewarm side as opposed to like totally loving it. But I really did enjoy A Dark Shade of Magic, the first book, and A Gathering of Shadows, the second book. This took me a very long time to finish. I do recall it took me almost a year to finish it because I do that sometimes with some books. But I did finish it and I did really like the ending and like the last third of the book, but the first 2/3 kind of dragged for me. So I feel like I was unmotivated to pick up the last book, A Conjuring of Light. And I have started this. I am like, I think 100 pages in. Okay, no, 63 pages in. I'm a total liar apparently. But yes, I'm 62 pages in, but I just haven't gotten around to finishing this, and I really do want to because I've heard that this one gets really crazy and intense, and I do want to finish it, just haven't gotten around to it. I have an issue with reading long fantasy books. So that's my issue right now, but hopefully I will finish it. If you have read the Darker Shade of Magic series, tell me what you thought of this one without spoiling anything, and I'll see if that will taunt me to pick it up sooner. But basically this is a fantasy series that straddles like multiple kind of universes. So it's like multiple versions of London, one without magic, so our world, one that was destroyed by magic, Black London, one that has a lot of magic, Red London, and then like White London that is like slowly getting consumed by magic. And it follows our main character Kel, who is something called a traveler who can travel between these different Londons, but he is actually from Red London, where there's like this kingdom of people and there's lots of magic and everything. And Kel has this secret where he smuggles things between the Londons, and his adopted family, the royal family, doesn't know about that. And he ends up meeting this thief named Lila Bard, and she ends up conning him into taking her on an adventure through the multiple Londons so she can kind of see the world and escape the life that she has in her normal gray London, our version of the world. And I think it's set in like the 1800s, like our version of London. It's a really fun fantasy series. It's just a little bit on the slow side for my taste, but I do really enjoy it. Okay, the next series that I need to finish is a middle grade series by Rick Riordan, who I absolutely love. I love the Percy Jackson series. And this is the Trials of Apollo series by Rick Riordan. So this is like the third Greek mythology series that he has, I think. So there was the Percy Jackson series and then the Heroes of Olympus series, which also had Roman mythology. And this one follows Apollo, the god Apollo, who is getting punished by Zeus for something that he did. And so he ends up in the body of a 16-year-old teenager, 16-year-old? Yeah, the body of a teenager, of a demigod. And so he is on his crazy little adventures while he is on Earth. I read the first one and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was hilarious and I just had so much fun with it. I do own the second book, The Dark Prophecy, and the third book, The Burning Maze. I just haven't gotten around to reading them. I bought them right away as soon as they released because they were both on sale when they released, so I just picked them up. But I really do want to finish them. I just haven't gotten around to it. I feel like I've been in a bit of a reading slump in terms of middle grade books. I feel like I just can't find one that I'm like really feeling like reading, but I do want to finish these eventually, so hopefully soon. Okay, the second last series that I need to finish is the Aru Shah and the End of Time series, or the Pandava Quartet actually is what it's called. There's supposed to be 4 books, but this is the first book, Aru Shah and the End of Time, which I absolutely loved. It's based on Hindu mythology. It's under the Rick Riordan Presents imprint, which follows like a bunch of stories written by own voices, authors writing about stories from their own kind of cultures. And Roshan Chokshi is half Indian and half Filipina, and she is writing this series based on Hindu mythology, and it's absolutely awesome and I love it. I just haven't gotten around to reading the second book, and there's going to be more coming out, so I feel like I'm like partly holding out until the rest of the books come out so I can like binge read them. But I also really want to read it soon so I can like keep up with everyone who has read it, and I know a lot of you have been asking for a review of this, so hopefully I will read it soon. I really do want to read it and I think it's going to be awesome. But yes, it follows our main character Aru Shah, who's a bit of a liar and a bit of a unconventional main character, but this also has kind of like Sailor Moon vibes with all of the other female characters in it, and I think it's just going to be totally great as it moves through the like series, so I'm just super excited for it. All right, and the last series that I want to tell you about that I need to finish, I really want to finish, is the Young Elites series by Marie Lu. So this is the first book, The Young Elites, which I have actually already read. This is the second one, The Rose Society, which I have not read, and ditto with the third book, The Midnight Star. I have not read this one either. So I read the first one when it came out because Marie Lu, I love everything that she writes. I love her Legend series. I love her Warcross series. So this series series came out in between the Legend series and Warcross. So I picked up the first one, and it's basically like a villain origin story. It's set in this fantasy world. It follows our main character Adelina, and it's basically her villain origin story, and it was really, really interesting. I really did enjoy the first book. I didn't love it completely as much as her Legend series, and definitely not as much as the Warcross series, but I did think it had some merits to it, and I do really want to finish the rest of the series. I have heard some really great things from other people as well, so yes, I really want to finish this just because, like Marie Lu, I will auto buy and read anything that she writes because I love her, and I just really think that this is going to be awesome. So if you have read this series, let me know so you can convince me and kick my ass and tell me to read it, because I really want to read these because I've had these on my shelves for so long and I just really want to read them. But those are all the series that I want to tell you about today, all the series that I need to finish, that I've started and want to read and finish, because I think they're all great. I just haven't gotten around to finishing them. So please let me know in the comments if you have read any of these series, if you're planning to read any of them, if you have finished them, if you haven't finished them, if you want me to finish one of them right away. Please let me know in the comments. Basically rank them for me. Tell me which one you think I should finish first versus like last, and I would love to hear all of your thoughts. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video, and please remember that this story ain't over. Bye.